Now, you may wonder why I am holding this bottle and this glass. Well, you see, I was listening to a broadcast and I discovered that the Israelis, according to the latest Islamic clerics, the Israelis have managed to get Nasrallah by the use of jinns. So I thought that this might help me make a better video. You know, I mean, if the Israelis can magically get hold of a world-class terrorist using just a little drinky-winky, then, you know, why shouldn't I try to use the same methods for videos? So I can hardly wait to look at the news about this. Let's have a look what it says here. Iran cleric, Jews use sorcery to spy. Sorcery? What happened to the jinn? A mullah at Tehran University told Iranians on official TV that Jews use jinns or genies for espionage. Oh, what a disappointment. They're not talking about jinns at all. They're talking about genies. That's what the Israelis are using. You know, I'm really disappointed. Actually, I'm so disappointed, it's driving me to drink. I'm granniopteryx. Oh, this stuff really is helping. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. Okay, so this is the story. And a cleric in Iran says that Jews use sorcery to spy. And this was published in 2014. But don't despair. I have found another one from 2024. Okay, so let it not be said I don't keep up to date. Okay, but let's start with 2014. A mullah at Tehran University, so, yeah, at an academic institution, told Iranians on official TV that Jews use jinns, in English, genies, for espionage. Iran's state broadcaster, known as Islamic Republic of Iran Broadcasting, the clue is in the name, has never been the country's most dignified institution, well, according to Azadeh Moavani, of course, but even by its own standards, the network plunged into a fresh abyss of superstition and fear-mongering with a recent broadcast in which Valiola Nahipurfa, hang on a minute, isn't a Valiola a pus-filled a pustule of some sort? No, that's variola. Oh well, near enough. Just like this is near enough a gin. Valiola Nahipurfa, a cleric and a professor at Tehran University, discusses the use of jinns or genies in public life. So this is the interview, and I'll read out the subtitles for those of you who are just listening. So let's listen to this interview.
آیا میشود جن بخواهد با انسان رابطه برقرار کند؟
Can jinns communicate with human beings?
اصلا دائما میخوان با ما مرتبط بشن.
اونا میخوان همیشه ها.
Of course, they do it all the time.
مثلا زمینه ارتباط و کمک و امداد ملائکه براش فراهم میشه و عمل صالحش.
آیا از جن میشود استفاده؟
Can jinns be used to spy on people?
آیا میشود جن بخواهد با انسان رابطه برقرار کند؟
بعضی از مسئولین می‌خواستن
Some authorities have tried it, but it's very dangerous.
نه میرفتن از این رو چون این
But jinns are evil. They can deceive you, give you false information,
بزنگاه اطلاعات غلط بده و بیچاره کنه سیستم رو.
and even take down a political or social system.
و غلطه و ابدا نباید با اینا مرتبط.
برشون تو برنامه پیش
But in,
اصلا با سحر و
you see, this is what the mullah says. Jews have always been associated with sorcery and jinns.
این ارتباط قوی داره.
Sorcerers are actually Jewish.
جادوگرا یهودی بسیار از کسانی که با جن در ارتباطن
Those who have contact with jinns are often Jewish.
یهودی‌ها بیشتر ناشی میشه. یعنی طایفه یهود زمینه‌های خراب آره.
I have to say something here. Maybe it's the jinn speaking, but I know there are Israelis who listen to my videos. You can't have a sensible negotiation with people like that. I'm sorry. It's just not possible. How can you possibly reach a peace agreement with somebody who thinks that you have a bunch of jinns sitting over your shoulder? All right, let's carry on.
اینکه در اروپا هم خیلی برخورد
In
می‌کردن.
Europe, they used to punish sorcerers who had their roots in misguided
با این
Judaism.
جادوگرا که
Oh,
چون ریشه در
He's trying to be even-handed there, isn't he?
بله اینی که اسرائیل با این زمینه عقبه تاریخی که دارن مثلا قرآن مثلا
Even the Quran condemns Jews, calling the prophet Solomon an infidel and accusing him of sorcery.
تهمت کفر بعد از سلیمان زدن یهود. گفتن این کافر شده از راه سحر داره این قدرت رو انجام میده.
The interviewer says, so could it be that our current problems come from sorcery and magic? I am not a respected cleric at Tehran University, and I can tell you, mind you, this is now 10 years ago, goodness knows what's happened to him now, but I can tell you that the problems of Iran come not from sorcery and magic, but from authoritarianism and religious fanaticism. But of course, that's just my opinion.
اختلالات و اختلافاتی که مثلا ما تو این حوادث اخیر گرفتار شدیم ممکنه مثلا سحر و جادو باشه، چش و نظر باشه.
Could it be that they have been caused by supernatural forces?
معرفت غلط هست.
Yes, there are people who don't act according to their
بحث
faith.
عملی ایمانی هست. بله.
People who delve into the supernatural?
کسی که تخلفاتی کرده.
Yes, sinners are vulnerable to jinns. I'll drink to that. Okay.
سحر درش اثر میذاره.
کسی که حالا مثلا کشور ما دیگه.
Could this apply to our entire country? Not the country as a whole. We're talking about individuals here.
بحث اینجاست که اشخاص بحث
What I mean is it possible for a government to be manipulated by jinns?
عرض کردم
یه حکومتی ممکنه گرفتار دسیسه.
I suppose it depends on how much of it they drink. On the sly, of course, because that's strictly haram. Right, manipulated by jinns. In Israel, but not in Iran. Of course, even God says, don't you see that the devil controls infidels? Infidels are powerless. Tell that to the guys who were wearing the pages. Okay, well that's that. And then we have this. So that was in 2014. And you might say that was back in the Dark Ages. But here we are. A cleric claims in televised interview that Israel was able to eliminate Hassan Nasrallah by employing the aid of supernatural creatures and advanced technologies the Jews have supposedly had for 3,000 years. Well, I wonder why they're not on the moon yet. They, the Jewish people, have had access to genies and cosmic science since the time of David and Solomon. Now, this doesn't have subtitles, so all I can do is let you hear a little bit of what he's saying, and then I'll read what the article says. This is in Israel National News, by the way. I don't think they've mistranslated him, but yeah. Maybe it's the jinn.
دسترسی دارن به اجنه، در تفسیر اجنه، در علوم کیهانی. عرض کردم از زمان از داوود سلیمان تتمه از این علوم پیش یهود هست.
Okay, so you get the idea. Now I'll read the article. As Israel continues to demonstrate impressive intelligence capabilities by eliminating much of the leadership of the Hezbollah terrorist organization, some of its enemies are reportedly attributing supernatural powers to the Jewish state. No, what's happened, the Jewish state is a democratic state, and it's a state where the government doesn't tell the army what to do, lets the army get on with it. Iran is an authoritarian state, and authoritarian states are always in trouble when it comes to running wars, because nobody can have responsibility. Everything has to go up the ladder of command to the, and people can't be imaginative on their own. So that's the difference between Israel and Iran. It has nothing to do with genies, but might have something to do with gin. They can drink that in Israel. Iranian opposition news site Iran International published a recording from a televised interview given by an Iranian cleric close to the Ayatollah's regime, accusing the Jewish people of trapping and employing jinn or genies for 3,000 years, as well as using science fiction technology. Iranian Shia seminary teacher Mustafa Karami claimed, considering the Zionist history of subjugating genies, they carry out many of their missions through this means, and demons are their secret army. Well, I would say demons are the Israeli secret army, but the demons are in the minds of the Islamic clerics. They are so blinded by their hatred of Israel and Jews generally, they can't see straight. The Jews have had access to genies and cosmic science since the time of David and Solomon, he added. Historically, they've always used genies. Their documents and traditions prove that. They have used genies and demons for warfare and intelligence operations throughout history. Karami detailed his magical conspiracy theory in response to the elimination of Hassan Nasrallah last week. There have been varying reports in the media as to how Nasrallah was located prior to his elimination in Beirut. According to some Arabic media reports, he shook the hand of someone who placed a substance on his hand that allowed Israel to track him, which is almost as much magical thinking as jinns. Meanwhile, Western media has attributed the tracking of the Hezbollah leader's location to more mundane, old-fashioned intelligence work. If you want my twopenneth for what it's worth, there are lots of people in Lebanon who hate, loathe and despise that man, and who would want him dead, and who would be only too happy to tell the Israelis where he was. And I think that's probably got a lot more to do with it than even the intelligence work that the Israelis have done, which is probably pretty good anyway. Right, I've got lipstick all over this. Never mind. Well, there you are. That's the answer to the way the Israelis managed to destroy most of Hezbollah within a couple of weeks. And apart from that, you're my best friends, you are. Till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.